Long before telescopes, our ancestors looked to the heavens not just for light, but for meaning. They saw stories written in the stars, and in this episode of the Primordial Verse, we'll be looking into every cosmic events recorded in history. We'll journey across the ancient world to uncover how the Babylonians, Egyptians, Chinese, and Mayans read the cosmos. Were they primitive astronomers, or did they understand something we've forgotten? We'll explore ancient sky maps, celestial temples, and the myths that mirrored the movements of planets. You'll discover how the language of the stars shaped kingship, calendars, and entire worldviews. Our story begins in Mesopotamia, where the Babylonians made some of the earliest recorded observations of comets, eclipses, and the paths of planets. They were the first to identify the constellations we now call the Crab and the Greater Dog. They also tracked the movements of the planets and assigned gods to each one. Many of these beliefs later found their way into the Bible, but the Babylonians weren't the only ones. Keeping watch over the heavens were the Egyptians, who built their days around the Nile River Sa. Floods. They watched as the star they called Sirius rose each year, marking the annual inundation. This and other celestial events were woven into their myths. When the Egyptians associated the god Ra with the sun, they also believed that he sailed across the sky each day in a solar boat, battling the forces of darkness. To help him, they built temples like the one at Karnak with long axes aligned to the sunrise on the summer solstice. These structures are some of the oldest examples of human architecture used to track the stars. But it was the Maya who took celestial architecture to new heights, quite literally. At Chichen Itza, the Temple of Kukulkin, also called the El Castillo, has steps on all four sides. During the spring and fall equinoxes, the sunlight falling on these steps creates the illusion of a serpent slithering down the pyramid. In fact, the entire city of Teotihuacan was laid out according to the movements of the sun, moon, and Venus. The Avenue of the Dead, the main thoroughfare, is lined with pyramids representing the setting sun, the Milky Way, and the rising moon. As you can see, the ancient world was full of storytellers, not just astronomers. The Chinese, for example, saw a dragon in the stars, a constellation that became a symbol of their culture. They also kept detailed records of comets, which they believed foretold important events. In fact, many cultures saw comets as divine harbingers. The Aztecs, for instance, believed that when a comet appeared, it meant that the gods were angry and it was time to sacrifice more humans to appease them. To learn more ways that ancient people made sense of the cosmos, stay tuned for more information.